got you. Yeah, I cannot hear you on the Twitch stream, so I was checking.
Up. Now we should be okay.
Okay, cool.
Mabi,
Yes, we're okay.
yes, for whatever reason, I should
No,
probably
you
also
have to.
add my mic input to the starting stone screen because they can hear y'all, might as well be able to hear me. However, there is some little part of me that just really enjoys the fact that my part of the conversation isn't there. Um, meh. Um, awesome, awesome. I am heard. I feel seen. It's awesome. Also, I can be seen
What the
because
hell is that smiley face? Did you kill it?
that's Twitch Smile.
That looks like a theater mask.
Yeah, that's just like the stock Twitch smile emote.
It frightened me.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a bunch of those.
Okay, I am getting off of Twitch now to avoid spoilers and overlap. Bye, Sid. I'm glad you're here.
Okay. um, Sid didn't even know I was here. Man. Um, I am always here at the start. If the stream is live, I am here. um, it looks like I'm having some dropped frames, but I'm not a pro streamer, so I'm just gonna not deal with that. I'm gonna pretend that it's fine. um, so yes. Okay. Um, getting back into the recap. The party absolutely freaking wrecked some Null due to the surprise condition and also the unexpected help of some kobolds and draconians. The Null did not get a fucking turn in that combat before all three were super fucking dead. Um, and then we had a relatively difficult fight with some exploding men and tiny lizards with slingshots. So, um, yeah. So that went well. The Draconian Dreadnought, who I believe was it 26 or 36 damage that he dropped in one turn on Ren.
26.
Yeah, dropped
Yeah.
26 damage in one turn, and he missed one of his attacks. um, yeah, so that was a fun little battle. At the end of initiative, it was also the end of the stream. So that is where we're hopping back in. Do y'all want the visual aid of the map? Because I can pull that up. No? Okay.
Yeah, if we're not in combat, then no.
Yeah, all right. I will just point out the couple things that you would have been able to see then, uh, which none of this stuff appeared out of nowhere. It was all there on the map and there the whole time. Um, so there is a tent, campfire, no real other like visible luggage from uh, from the knoll. It's just that one tent, campfire. There's no real other like brought in stuff. Everything else is au natural. Um, uh, Other than that, there are the three knoll corpses. The mostly eaten human corpse. There is the very exploded draconian dreadnought, and the two draconian foot soldier statues now, um, as well as two dead kobolds and two fleeing kobolds. At the time of leaving initiative, the kobolds would be, let's see, they're about 60, pushing 140 feet away from y'all if y'all wanted to do anything about that.
How fast are they?
They have a move speed of 30. So technically, Call could run them down as long as Call could maintain an eye line on them, because Call can dash twice in a turn. So, because rogues be quick, y'all.
Do they be nimble?
Now they are running in opposite directions, so
So we could presumably only grab one.
probably.
We could try, because Call has really good range, Ren has really good range, but Call is a lot faster than Ren.
Henry is not fast.
I mean, Henry is now the same speed as Ren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
You
could
have 30
also,
foot move speed.
Yeah, we also all have pretty good dark vision.
Yeah.
You know what?
But we're also all hurt.
We are, but I don't like letting people get away.
Yeah.
Because that can be bad for us.
Yeah.
So,
That's
Y'all are gonna need to act soon because they're
Yeah.
in the process of running.
yeah, Ren actually wants to like go towards like whoever might be closest to him, just like go directly and like align towards that person.
For Ren, that would be the one to the west.
Yeah.
I think Call's going to see that and just kind of go, okay, that's what we're doing now, and is going to, and then pick the other one.
Okay. So,
I think Henry's gonna run with Ren just because he seems to be running a little bit slower, and Henry's about that.
okay. So the way we're gonna do this, yeah, I mean it's hilly terrain. So what we're gonna do, because Ren and Call were the first ones to make the decisions, give me a perception check, both of you.
27.
17.
Nice.
Ren, you chase after the one heading west, and when you get to the top of that hill where they started, they pushed the rocks down onto the knoll. You look around and you see no sign of this kobold. Call, however, is closing fast on, which, remember, your bowstring is broken at the moment, so you haven't had a chance to restring. So that would take an action to restring your bow, which would mean you wouldn't be able to move as far, or you can go at him with a different weapon. But you do spot him the first time you crest a hill, and you are gaining, but you wouldn't quite be in throwing range yet.
Paul is going to probably just grab one of their daggers and go for that instead of bothering to pause for their bow.
Okay. Do you have a +10 to perception?
I do.
Okay, well then there's no way that you can not see him for the second check. Even on a nat 1, you still beat his 9. So, all right. So we'll do one more because your plan is to throw the dagger at him. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a 5. He's very, very bad at maintaining, like staying out of your line of sight. So at this point, I'm going to say you are in range of throwing your dagger. So if you want to give me an attack roll.
So I will absolutely do that. I am making sure. Yeah, okay. Oh, well, I also did real bad. I rolled a nat 1 right there.
Okay.
I have 2 daggers, though.
Well, it's good because you would have to spend some time looking to find the dagger that you just threw.
Okay.
That being said, he did not stop. Give me a perception check.
25.
You still have a bead on him. You can give me another. Actually, so at this point, What is... Okay, so you're quite a bit closer. You should have actually made that last attack at disadvantage, but nat 1, you couldn't have gotten any worse. But now I'm going to say that you are within standard range for a throwing dagger, so no disadvantage.
No disadvantage?
Correct.
Alright, work for me, big duck. That is a 22.
That will hit. Go ahead and roll damage. Did you equip the dagger?
I did.
Okay, then you know how that works.
Yeah.
Never mind, he's dead.
That is... What?
You have a +4 to damage. He has 5 health. So
Aww.
anything on the face of that dice, and he is dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
I want to adopt the other kobold.
He
Can
gown.
Henry make a perception check?
Um,
Henry was right behind.
I'll
Ren.
let you. Okay, I will let you make a perception check. It is nighttime. We're gonna make it at disadvantage.
I
It's
have
night.
dark vision.
How far?
60 feet.
He's more than 60 feet away from you.
Oh.
They were 140 at the beginning of this, so even if you moved a full 60 feet, he'd still be 60 feet. Is that
14.
Okay.
This is 3 less than what Red got. So I'm guessing that's a no.
Yep. I forgot what he rolled, but now I remember. So no, you did not. You do not see him. Yeah. Okay. So Call just absolutely fucking dropped a kobold. That was 4 times 9. Call is almost 400 feet away from y'all. More than 400 feet away from y'all, because y'all ran in the other direction for a little bit.
I mean, we're probably gonna meet back at the camp though. Like,
Yeah, I'm just saying. After that, that is how far apart you are.
Incredible.
Gonna run back, making sure Henry's right with them.
yeah.
Meanwhile, Kyle's gonna take a minute to, make sure that there's nothing on the kobold that's worth, finding out about.
You're gonna loot the kobold.
Why wouldn't you? No. Looting the
Where
kobold.
was going?
How dare you, Asher? This is the correct decision. How dare you?
See, I'm just imagining them as like a little iguana.
They're not that small. They are not tiny
That's how
creatures.
small the tokens were.
Yeah, but I told you that I messed up and I had the tokens too
Oh.
small. The tokens were
I'm
indicative
sorry.
of a tiny
I forgot
creature.
that.
They are
I
small.
forgot that. I was imagining like Margot's pet.
They're
iguana.
about 3 feet, 3.5 feet tall.
Okay, so they're not tiny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They're rough.
apologize.
They're the same size classification as halflings and gnomes.
I apologize for making fun of you, Bronwyn. I was imagining Call looting an iguana, and that was really funny.
You could just bring it back. Like, I got dinner.
Oh god.
Reptile meat is apparently pretty good.
That's sentient enough to use tools.
Other chicken. Other wait.
The other chicken.
The other wait. You know what I'm referencing?
Yes, you are referencing Extreme Days. Okay. Back to the task at hand. Call, can you give me an investigation check, please?
Absolutely, I can. That would be a 21.
21. Okay, so you find everything that this guy ever carried. I mean, only what's on him still. But so you do find his sling, which looks to be like of the things y'all have fought, especially the gnoll. Their weapons, even like the bandits that, or y'all haven't, the thugs that y'all have fought in town. The weapons are usually in pretty poor repair. Like they're usually pretty shitty, in fact. Which is why you're rather surprised to find like fresh oiled leather that this sling is made out of. Like it's nice, like not magic nice, but it's nice, new, fresh. You find a small again same like good quality leather pouch that has some good sized stones in it. And what is even more surprising is the. Let me double check what weapon it is. I think it's a short sword, but. Going about this the worst ways possible. Oh, it's a dagger. Okay. But like, so it's a dagger. It's not made like it doesn't look exactly like your daggers, but it's the same quality. Like you, it sharp. It is sharp. There's no rust or chips in the blade. Uh, the handle is wrapped fresh. Like it's a good quality dagger. Um, um, he's not wearing any armor. Just kind of like a. Honestly, his clothes are way worse quality than the weapons you find. His clothes, like, he's kind of wearing like a what looks to have been a burlap sack that had a rope tied around his waist as a belt. Um, and you find one other tiny pouch that has 9 copper pieces in it. Uh, do you want to look for your previously thrown dagger? Okay, give me a. I'm trying to decide between perception and investigation because, like, it's a broad enough area. I think perception.
Okay.
Because investigation is supposed to be like you're looking through it, like using your hands and such.
Mod 20.
Mod 20. You are able to find it. But like you're kind of surprised you found it. It's like behind a rock. Like it would have like you kind of get lucky and find it. Like you and the way you find it, you're like, man, if I didn't like kick this rock over on accident, I would not have found this. And that's what nat ones get you. Um, but yeah, so you now have 3 daggers.
I have 3 daggers.
And if you wanted to take that sling, go ahead and add that to your inventory as well.
Will do. I am going to go ahead and take that sling. All right, and with that, Carl is probably gonna head back towards the camp.
Okay. I assume Henry and Ren returned to the camp pretty quickly. Okay, so when you get back, they are there already. And what do you do?
Checks over Henry and Call to make sure they're not like dying. Then I guess we're gonna investigate because that's what we said we were gonna do.
How's everybody looking? How's everybody feeling?
So
hurt-wise.
Rules-wise, as I said before, like y'all are not in combat, so you can like take stock of your own injuries, and I am okay with you telling each other the exact number of your health. It is only in combat that we need to use the code words that I myself ignored last round.
Could use a rest.
I mean, it's
even like
morning.
Short rest might be good.
Yeah.
It's
morning time.
The sun will be rising soon, because it was in your last watch that this group was discovered.
Yeah.
I think, Call's feeling feeling like they've had a day of training with Zerka, but, so tired and sore, but not horrid.
Henry's pretty hurt. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, I think at this point, Call's also in, like, get the job done first mode. So, despite whatever Ren and Henry are choosing to do right now, Call's first thing is going to be, like, straight to the, like, remains of the cultist to, like, see if there's anything that is not covered in viscera that's, useful information. Probably gonna hold their breath while they do it.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an investigation check, please.
You know it. Lame. I only got an 11.
Okay. 11. And you said you're specifically looking at the cultist?
Yes.
Okay. There is not. You don't find much. Like, it's a little hard to focus. You haven't seen a body in this state before. Yeah. On the cultist, the one thing you do find, which it kind of covered in blood, but tossed off to the side, just like 2 or 3 feet, is a pouch is a money pouch that has 80 gold, 32 silver, and 76 copper. I will put those numbers in the chat, just because.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. I think after that, Paul is going to. Or do you guys? Should I keep going, or do you guys want to do your thing first? Okay. Paul is going to, in that case, go ahead and look through the tent.
Okay. Give me another investigation check.
Okie doke.
Because I'm assuming you're not just standing at the entrance looking in.
Oh, we're going low today. This is a 10.
A 10. Yeah. I mean, there's a bedroll in there.
Okay. Big Duck is going to jail today. Oh wait, I have a physical dice jail. I'm gonna put that in there.
I love your mom.
For all of our friends at home, dice jail.
Lovely. Lovely.
Dice jail. Hello. Yeah. Anyway, while Big Duck is in dice jail, great. Call finds nothing. In that case, Call's gonna look over literally all of the other bodies to just see what they can find. Prioritizing the knoll first, and then seeing if there's anything that can be learned from the petrified corpses.
Okay. So first, we'll do an investigation check that's for the knoll corpses.
Okay. Okay, that is a 21.
21. All right. That's better. So first of all, specifically on the knoll that like walked up to the top of the hill that y'all just absolutely fucking wrecked. But the one that did move, you find on him a kind of older looking scroll that is written in a language you do not understand, but it very obviously is showing like it's like listing things. You don't know what it's listing or kind of in what way, but there is obviously like a list. There's some writing at the top and the bottom, but there's very obviously a list. You also find on the same one a small green stone. It's not a gemstone, but it's a small green stone that has a little bit of a glow to it. kind of the type of glow that like it's not really giving off light. It's just like it's enough to draw your eye. Um, yeah, that's what you find on the knoll.
Excellent.
Aside from that, you do find each of the knoll had a short bow that is in pretty piss poor condition, and each of them has a spear that is, if anything, in a worse condition, as well as a small wooden shield that, again, doesn't look great. And the cultist has another dagger that looks a little ornamental, but also doesn't look expensive at all. Like it looks pretty cheapo. um,
Okay. I was not gonna bother taking any of that stuff. Well, no. Call's gonna take the scroll and the gemstone,
yeah,
and then not gemstone, but not
yeah.
the weapons.
None of the weapons. Yeah, gotcha. Um, and give me one more check for the Draconians.
Okay. That is a 16.
16. Okay. So one of the petrified ones in a small pouch on his belt, there is a lesser healing potion, which I'll have the most of. Um, and on the other one, there's a small pouch with 18 gold in it. Um, also, that is high enough that in the kind of remnants of the one that exploded, you find a second green stone that matches the first that you found. And also, that is. Sorry?
The Null and the Dreadnought had the same stone?
Correct. Um, and then also, that is a high enough check to tell the Draconians and the Kobolds were packing light. None of them have sleeping material on them. And like what little tiny bits of food, it's little and tiny, like marching snacks.
So they're from nearby. Excellent. Okay. Um. Okay. Excellent. Call is going to go ahead then and head back towards the fire and drop everything near the fire, but obviously not too near, to start doing things like restringing their bow, splitting up the money, and waiting for everyone to wander up so they can be like, look at this weird shit.
I did mathematics, so I split up the money.
Thanks, Jen.
Okay. So I will put that in the chat.
See, Matt Mercer has kind of gotten me in the habit of only giving lump sums because in Critical Role there are kind of a staggering number of players who will definitely try to keep all of the loot to themselves.
Okay. And we're just those people who hold hands and split money evenly.
Mm.
So yeah, I think 2 people should get the leftover gold, and then the other person gets the leftover copper and silver.
Henry can take the copper and silver.
Alrighty. Inventory management.
We love to see it. Um, I'm also, for posterity's sake, going to say that Call goes ahead and tries to collect their arrows. If my math is right from the last session, they shot 5.
Yeah, so roll the d6 for me.
Okay.
Actually, let's do this. Yeah, roll this d6. Yeah.
Okay. Man, they are not on their game tonight. 1.
1. Yeah, I'm gonna flavor that as most of your arrows were put into either an exploding guy or a guy that turned into a statue. So, like, rather than you not being able to find them, much more that you couldn't pull an arrow out of a statue and the exploding kind of got rid of it. Um, but you were totally able to recover the one from the knoll that y'all dropped.
Yeah. Okay.
Can Henry make an Arcana check on the Arcana or History on the stones?
You can do Arcana.
12.
For
Um,
help action?
you can do help action. Go ahead and roll again.
Nat 20.
Okay.
Thanks, Jenny.
So this is Arcana check. They are definitely magical of some nature. I mean, with a nat 20, you can tell that the two are linked in some way, and I will say that you kind of pick one up and are looking at it closely and mutter something under your breath, and you hear it from the other stone. It's a nat 20, so I'll just straight up fucking tell you what they do. They do glow slightly, not enough to give off even dim light, but also they are messaging stones. So um, they are not distance restricted. They are not word restricted. They are not use restricted. Uh, as long as you have one and you speak into it, the voice comes out of the other. Um, you got infinite ranged walkie-talkie rocks.
Infinite range walkie-talkie.
It was the first thing I said. I wrote fucking walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
There are only 2, but
Is there any way to check to see if, or any way to know, based off of Arcana knowledge, that there could be others, kind of like in Lord of the Rings, there's all the orbs that all see each other. Not all of them are accounted for.
I wish you didn't get a nat 20 so that I could be vague about it. Because now I have to decide if there are more or not. Uh, uh, okay, I'm gonna go a little more into crafty things. These two are linked, and that is why they both glow the same color.
Okay.
There is. I'll figure out the exact fucking mechanics later, but there is a way to unlink them, and then to link them, you bring however many. There are more that exist, but they don't all talk to each other. You bring them together, and once they are touching, um, there's going to be. Here's what we'll say: there's an activation word for them that is not like a word in common. It's like a arcane word. Uh, that same word deactivates them, turns them off. Um, I will say, even with a nat 20, you don't know what the word is because you don't see it written or anything like that. But you do know that you would be able to, that it is possible to turn them off. And then if you had more in the future, or if it, potentially, if you brought a group of them together, said the activation word, they would all glow the same color, and they would all be interlinked.
So if I put them in my bag of holding, does that mean that no one can hear through them if there were multiple that were linked to those two?
You got a nat 20. They have to be spoken into to cast the message.
Okay.
However, if a message is cast to it, it always like sends the message out at volume. So could be a stealth ender potentially, but yeah, there's no way. So like you have to be intentional to send a message through it, but you don't know like but so it wouldn't be picked up. It wouldn't just pick up your conversation if you were just talking and it was nearby.
It's good to know that you can't get eavesdropped on.
That is what I was worried about.
Yeah, that was a really smart thing to ask.
Thanks.
I will say technically, sound cannot escape from the extra dimensional place that is a bag of holding, so that would have worked technically.
Okay.
Sid asked, "What's an arrow?" while Bronwyn was was recovering there.
Bless you, Sid. Bless you. Okay. Did y'all take your healing potions? Because I have not yet. You're just tired babies. That's what's happening.
We probably should.
Just a mechanic standpoint, if you plan on taking a short rest, you can roll hit dice, and also there are some healing spells to be cast if Henry is wanting to do that. Just
I somehow didn't prepare cure wounds. I have no idea how that happened.
Oops.
I was like, okay, so I have cure wounds. I'm gonna cast that. No, I didn't, and fuck. So.
Oopsie.
I don't know how that happened.
You
Very,
still
very
have
injured.
Very intelligent. What'd you say?
Is Ren still very injured? Or like, no, you use lay on hands.
I did.
Yeah.
So I gave him
Okay.
10. 15. I gave him 15.
Yeah. Which is
So is
what,
he
like
very
most
injured?
of your.
I have 25. So
Yeah.
I took the other 10.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was
He's
look
still not doing too hard, but
I was looking at your character. I was looking at Henry's character sheet, and I thought it was showing that you had used none of them, and I was like, you definitely did use those, and you need to mark them off on your character sheet. No, you used all of them. Gotcha. Um,
Henry was looking real pretty bad at the end of that, so.
yeah, somehow the AC 18 guy got hit every time he was attacked.
It was that MVP Cobalt.
that MVP Cobalt with the sling, freaking
He just
plus
kept getting me.
+4 to the attack, I believe, and did not miss a single time.
Honestly, like I said, give that guy a fucking raise.
I mean, y'all.
We killed him.
I believe y'all gave him a chill touch to the face, or an arrow. I don't remember which.
Chill touch. Yeah.
Chill touch brought low a few people in that fight.
Chill touch is very useful. Either that or Jenny just makes very good use of it.
It's Ren's main damage dealer. Like that's
Yeah.
his reliable one. So.
That's basically Ren's, bow or hammer.
Yeah.
So.
Bread and butter.
Good, because sorcerers are kind of one-trick ponies, and I think they're like paladins in that they recover spells on a long rest.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. We could probably get through another fight if one hits us, if we like take hit dice and stuff now and recover a little bit. It would be very hard though.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think that's metagaming. I think like our characters would be talking about this in like, their own terms right now, but like kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
I think
no,
I think somebody mentioned, because Ben said it, so I don't know who would have thought of it, that, well, they're probably close by and somebody got away. Should we
need to
get
move
out of here? Let's get out of here.
Okay,
Should we look around for like a cave or somewhere that's natural, like a natural formed area that we could rest in for a little bit?
Not a bad idea. Like, especially since we're not quite sure if our mission is over at the moment. We just kind of need a place to lick our wounds before we can really assess where the mission stands.
Just locationally, y'all weren't heading in a straight line towards the mountain when you left the city. However, where you are right now, it is about the same distance to the mountain as it is to the city. So it's about a 2-day trip either way.
Okay. Which would also presumably mean that the Draconians and the Kobolds were coming from some place closer than the mountain if they were not bothering to bring any kind of sleeping gear. Because presumably if they wouldn't have traveled through the night if they wanted to be primed for a fight by the end of that. So that's something to consider. Can we do a perception check for a place a direction to head?
So that would be a survival check.
Survival check.
Can we do that with help? And then could I also send Pierre out to look for stuff?
Okay.
Well, I got a 22, if that helps.
I believe you were wanting to give help, Ren?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and roll again just to see if you get any better.
Okay. The likelihood of that is slim. Yeah. No, I did not.
Okay.
22 is my
So
highest.
22 survival, and you said you sent Pierre up. Okay, so do you have the Raven stat block?
Yes, I do.
Do they have dark vision? Is what I want to know. And if they do, how far?
Do. Ba, ba, ba. I don't believe they do.
Okay. So yeah, give me a perception check at disadvantage for Pierre. On a 22 survival check, you are wanting to know. Sorry, give me one more time what you were wanting with that.
Looking for a place that looks
Looking for a safe
like
place.
a direct. Yeah, so a safe place to make camp.
Okay.
And also, I think, because we have a tent for shelter, so it's not like we need shelter, but I think that we should try to not pitch our tent just in case we need to move quickly, and also a tent is more conspicuous than like an area, like an alcove of some sort.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be super.
Let's finish up with Pierre first, and then I will give you what you get from that.
5.
5. It is dark. Even so, with a 5, the one thing I will say is that Pierre does not see any light sources.
That's actually a good thing.
Now, if anyone were trying, also with, I'm not going to bring that up. You got a 5. That's the information you have. Sorry, I have mobile games trying to give me notifications, and yeah. So, yeah. Pierre does not see lights. With a 22 survival, so kind of the area that y'all like the area you were directed to is where the foothills of the mountains start becoming a little craggier, a little more mountainous, more stone, less grass. There's still plenty of grass because you aren't that close, but this is where it kind of starts changing. So with a 22, you are able to rather quickly find 2 somewhat safe locations. One is actually very similar to your original campsite where you heard the knoll, but it is further away. There are hills that are pretty close on every side, so you are in a valley, and there's not really like long chutes of areas that could be traveled through without having to crest one of the hills nearby. So that's fairly sheltered. And then also, if you head a little bit northwest, which is towards the mountain and also the direction specifically that the dreadnought came from, y'all were the Knoll camp was a little like semicircle surrounded, but more in the direction that the dreadnought came. You do find like a small kind of a cliff that curves out a bit. So you would have a slight bit of protection from above. Like you could kind of get under this rock outcropping. But that is more in the direction of the mountain.
Carl's gonna relay that information to to the others.
Okay. I think this might be affected by where we're deciding to go next. If we think that we've done our job and we need to go back to Storgard and report sooner, we might not head in the direction of the mountain. But if we want to keep going, then the more sheltered spot might be a good idea.
Sorry, which direction was the first one in? That was closer to Stormguard?
It is southwest of the Knoll camp, so it's not towards either.
I mean, Paul, being the bitch they are, is going to be inclined to head towards the mountain. Not saying whether that's the smart decision, I'm saying that's what Call would do.
Henry, feeling?
Asher wants to go towards the mountain. Asher wants to find the dragon. Henry needs to talk about his shit. I think Henry's gonna stay quiet unless someone specifically asks him. So is Ren asking Henry, or Jenny, were you asking me? Ren's asking.
Both.
I think Henry goes, I've been in these hills before, and I did not have a good time, and I feel like that is coloring my ability to make a fair judgment. I think in order for me to make a clear decision, I think we would need to talk about it a little bit.
I was gonna say, does that mean you didn't have a good time in a way that is relevant to our current quandary?
The group that I was traveling with was attacked by a group of specters, which are dangerous but are not null nor draconian. So relevant because it's dangerous, which is why I was so nervous around the hillmen, but not like I have experience with kobolds.
I have questions about that for another time. I do want to hear the story, but maybe after we settle down.
Henry gives Call a very like I love you kind of smile, like a very like thank you for making me feel seen, but also for doing what's right kind of thing.
Um, so, Henry, what you're saying is that there are many different kinds of dangers in this area. Given that, do you think it would be foolhardy to prolong our stay out here to figure out what the null we're searching for, or is it worth the risk, or does like the net benefit outweigh the potential danger?
I think that we do not have a lot of provisions. We do not read the language on the scroll, and there is a well provisioned, a financially backed group of Draconians who knows that we're here because one of them got away. So I think that there is a lot of danger, not a lot of answers, and not a lot of support if we do get in trouble. Um, I also don't like going all the way back to Storgard. Bringing up what I brought up earlier, we could send a sending to someone if we think that would be helpful.
Then here's my thought. Given what you said, let's pick the protection further away from where from the direction the Draconians came from. That gives us a little more time if someone does decide to come back for us. We'll have a little bit more time for a rest. We won't be further away from Storgard should we decide to turn back. And at least then we'll have time to reset our minds and think things through a bit more thoroughly before we decide if we want to head a specific direction.
I like that.
And then if you like, you can use your sending once we've settled down. I feel like the priority is getting ourselves to a safe location first.
Yes.
Excellent. So given that, it doesn't sound like anyone's arguing, so let's go.
About the items that I just put in the chat, the two-handed serrated sword, the leather on the pommel is charred. Other than that, all of those items are in very good condition.
Nice.
I just realized that I covered the weapons of everyone except them. So.
Gotcha. I don't think Call is particularly inclined to take their weapons, mostly because Call does not want to look like that meme of that character that just keeps unloading weapons for a comedically long amount of time.
I mean,
But
It's
why
my
not?
favorite trope. It's my favorite.
You
You-
specifically said you love that for Call.
I do love that for Call, but I love that for Call when Call does not have to worry about being encumbered on a journey with monsters. So maybe in a little bit closer to home.
Hall should be Inej and just have a bunch of small weapons.
I
Yes.
will point out you can sell items.
Call may take the daggers at least. Just Call is gonna have an unreasonable amount of daggers now.
Can
The
I see?
Inej agenda.
It is now, yes.
And I will point out that you are currently carrying 82 pounds and your carrying capacity is 165. That's just Call.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That you can carry 165 pounds before having any problems at all.
Okay. In that case, Call's gonna take the serrated sword and the daggers.
Even looked at that, the encumbered limit.
And looked at mine and was like, "Why are you 150 pounds over?" or something like that. I was like, "What?" And it's because my armor wasn't equipped, so I was just carrying around my armor.
Yeah, I think that's what
Solid.
Ren just shouldn't pick anything else up.
it was. Ren's not a very strong boy.
No, no.
He's good at like everything else. Not very strong.
No. He also has he has the lowest strength, wisdom, and intelligence in the group, okay?
But I mean,
But
you at
he's-
least still have a positive modifier to wisdom and intelligence. Like it's still positive.
Yeah, now it is.
Henry has a +1 to intelligence. I think they're about the same, right?
Yeah, I think Henry's is still higher though.
Yeah, I
Ren's
think
is 12 on both of them.
you have a
Anyway,
13 intelligence, right, Henry? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
yeah. Oh,
Okay.
wait a second. For some reason, Ren's background as an Outlander gave him a hunting trap, which is 25 pounds. Do we need that shit at all?
Um,
Hey, that strikes my argument about provisions, right?
that wow, that actually, I mean, that's actually a fair damage dealer. Like if you
Yeah, he's
have a
looking at
place to
that.
set it up, that's a that's a D4 piercing damage. What is okay? They have to succeed a DC 13 Dexterity saving throw or take a 1d4 piercing damage and stop moving. So it takes their speed to 0. And then until they break free of the trap, its movement is limited to 3 feet from a single point, which is where which is the length of the chain of the trap. To free themselves, they need to make a DC 13 Strength check or take a piercing damage every time. Take a piercing damage every time they fail that throw. It's
Should we
not a
just
bad piece of equipment.
Yeah, should we just set this up like at a strategic point near our campsite, so like as like a preliminary defensive measure or something?
If you want to do that, make a survival check to like find the most optimal place to put it.
Okay, have we gone to our
I'll say that y'all are at the campsite that y'all chose.
cool. Ren just like went through his backpack and just like pulled out like a fucking bear trap and he was like, "Guys want to use this?" Okay.
Pull it.
Between Ren and everyone else, Call's gonna like pale a little bit. Like, oh, yeah, we can use that.
Oh my god, I don't think it's like a full bear trap. I don't know what it looks like.
It's 25 pounds. It is
It
a
might be a
3-foot.
bear trap.
It is a circular serrated metal trap with a 3-foot long chain and a spike to drive into the ground to hold it in place.
Ren really just like walking around with a bear trap in his little school backpack. Just, oh yeah, I forgot this old thing.
I mean, to be honest, like practically, it was probably like strapped to the outside of your backpack. You've probably been walking around, people seeing this.
Yeah, and he was just like, oh yeah, I forgot it was there. It's just such a permanent fixture in my life. Okay, but also he rolled a 22 to set it up.
Okay, so 22 is great. I'm gonna say that you put it in like probably the most optimum place, like you set it at the base, and I'm also going to use that as your like disguising it. Like that 22 is going to be the perception check necessary for an enemy to notice it and not step in it.
Also,
So
is this shit reusable?
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a giant steel trap. Even just because it clangs shut once doesn't mean that it's gone forever. So yeah, you can totally just pull it up and pack it and take it with you when in the morning. So yeah, you put it kind of at the like gentlest slope into your camp. So it would be like the easiest way to come down into your camp, and you are able to cover it with leaves and such. And it is like the only person who I mean, Call still is like, I mean, it's right there. But you and Henry like stand back and are like, man, I can't see it at all.
Ren would like point out distinctly to Henry, "Don't step there."
Like, where?
No, just don't go.
But yeah, so I the things will have to happen before y'all start having to make rolls on whether or not you're going to step in it. But yeah, you have set up a hunting trap. If you want to make that, I need you to roll for it to disguise it every time. So you'll need to bring it up each time. I was going to try and make it automatic, but we need placement and such.
I like that.
So yeah, awesome. So that's set up. Do y'all set up your tent and everything? Like, are y'all fully setting up camp here?
Right? Or just taking a short rest.
Uh,
Yeah.
Can we assess the weather?
sure. Make a survival check for me.
Okay. 21.
Uh, it's a little cloudy, not overcast. Doesn't look like rain anytime soon. Um, there you go. Just game mechanic wise, like y'all can take another long rest right now. Like there's, I'm not gonna say, well, y'all just slept, so you wouldn't be able to sleep again, because it's a rest and not a sleep. Um, like you can be awake the entirety of a long rest. Um,
I think we should do that.
so that, but I'm,
The
ooh,
boy.
the boy.
The boy. Shenanigans.
Uh, Not trying to push y'all in any direction, just saying like there is nothing stopping you mechanically from taking a long rest. If y'all want to just do short rest spells and pots to get you through the day, then you can absolutely do that.
Um, I think Call is going to suggest that we take as long a rest as we can manage, because we still need time to like also think through what our next move is. And so technically, as long as no one finds us, we're not really in a rush.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, this is a pretty good spot. So.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, with the survival check that was required to find this area, like you're fairly there's not a, these aren't all over the place. This like locations like this. Um, so y'all are at least going to try to take a long rest,
Mm-hmm.
barring being interrupted. So here is what I will do mechanically for you. Um, right now, go ahead and you can use up to half of your hit die. And then if you complete the long rest, then your hit die will be replenished anyway. Um, so y'all are level 5, so that would just be 2 hit die. I believe it's an 8 for Colin Wren and a d10 for Henry.
Ren's is a 6.
Oh, it's a
So.
6.
Yeah.
Right, sorcerers and wizards.
Yeah.
Small little unhealthy boys.
No.
Man, y'all widespread. Almost all of the possible hit dice. Um,
Okay. And what did you say we could do? I'm
so
sorry.
you can roll. So if you would like to do more, you can. But right now, if you want to roll 2 of your hit dice, so for you it's a d8. So you roll 2d8 and just heal that amount. If you finish your long rest, those are replenished. But a long rest only replenishes half of your hit dice. So if you use more than 2, you don't replenish all of them.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go ahead and do that. Oh, that's nice. I rolled really nice on that. Um, I get back a whole 15
Very
points.
nice.
So out of, 2d8, like,
Mm-hmm.
damn near perfect.
I rolled less well.
I
Can I
rolled
roll
pretty dang
another
good.
one?
If you want to use another one of your hit die, you can. But also, just know if you make it through your long rest, you'll be full health.
But doesn't long rest, don't they replenish hit die?
Only up to half of your total hit die.
Round it up or round it down?
Rounded down. Always rounded down. Like in the rule books, like everything is rounded down.
Okay, well, I'm going to take it because I'm pretty...
Go for it. I mean, at your next, as long as you don't use more before your next long rest, then you'll. Yeah. Okay. Um, so y'all have healed what you are healing. And I assume y'all are setting up watches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who's up first?
Tradition.
Right now, Paul's actually feeling pretty damn good. Um, Call is back in ship-shape fighting condition, so Call's going to go ahead and shake things up and offer to take first watch if anyone else wants to like take some time to rest and heal.
Sure.
All right. So give me a perception check, please. Um,
Okay.
I'll say that for the time it took y'all to find, go to, and set up this camp, uh, the sun has started rising enough that you are not at a perception disadvantage.
Okay. That would be a 26, my guy.
26. Okay. Um, uh, Also, just are you at the top of the hill? Are you in the camp? Where are you?
Um, at this point, Call's gonna be kind of sticking close, so I think they're going to be again like about halfway up the hill.
Okay. So what I'm gonna say for that is that y'all are in like talking range. Like y'all could easily talk to each other and it would not interrupt your rest. Um, that being said, if y'all would like to roleplay for a little bit while y'all are resting, that'd be great because I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay, bye. Um, if Henry is not going to sleep, Call may ask Henry about the last time he was in this area.
Yeah, I don't think Henry's gonna sleep. I think he rested. So that's good. Yeah. So Henry says, before coming to Storgard, I just, traveled around. My charge from Lyra is to spread joy, and so, um, I came through these hills. There's a few towns, and I was kind of like at the north, and then I was kind of coming around the mountain. There's this, there's this town, which this is probably relevant. So I'm glad you asked. There is a town that's right by the mountain that the counts of Storad have always. Um, Ben, can you audibly tell me if this is something Henry would know? I know this. I'm pretty sure Henry knows this, right?
I can't unmute, but you do know this, yes.
Okay. He said I do know this. Because he told me a lot of lore stuff about where Henry was, and I just wanted to make sure that Henry knew it. Okay. So there's this town. It's right by the mountain. That the counts of Star have always perpetuated, but the citizens of this town feel that it is haunted. And there's always accidents, way more accidents than anywhere else, and it just feels like a cursed location right next to the mountain. And so a lot of people move away, but then the counts just keep paying more people to come back and to resettle the area. So if there is anything going on with these Draconians, then there are people nearby that could be in danger. Not only that town, there's another town that's relatively close by, to them, not to us, to that town. That's kind of more in the hills. But yeah, it was in these hills that I was traveling with a pretty big group of people that were my friends, and we were surrounded, and it was only me and a paladin who made it out alive. And he was powerful enough to save the two of us. And it was then that I knew that I had to get the same amount of power so that I could protect my friends again in the future, and to never let that happen again. which is why I've been a little bit not myself these past couple days. I've been very jumpy and, scared because I don't want to lose you guys. Not anywhere, but especially not here.
Thank you for trusting us with that. I appreciate that must have been very difficult.
I've had time to process, and so I'm okay. But it's it was a lot of people.
How old were you?
22? Is that right, Ben? Is it 22? Yeah, 20. I was 22. Yeah, I went immediately to store guard, and 2 years in the academy, all of whatever, 2 years of training. And here we are. Which kind of leads into I've been thinking recently. I graduated. My mission is to spread joy, and I'm gonna finish these missions and protect the people I can, but I don't really know what my purpose is in store guard anymore.
I'm sorry you're going through that. It seems you've been. It sounds like you've been having a. Not to sound foolish, but I guess identity crisis for a while now, and I know that must be weighing on you.
I'd say that's accurate. I'd say that's accurate.
I'm sorry you're going through that.
Thanks for listening.
Of course. I'm always happy to listen if you want to talk about anything, vent about anything. I'm always willing to hear things.
Henry laughs for a little while at that.
That was the goal.
I genuinely love your curiosity. It's I don't know, it's refreshing and it's fun. It's something I love about you.
Is my mic working? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Ren has been holding on to the little heating stones during this rest, and he's just gonna squeeze Henry's hand.
Henry squeezes back.
Henry, uncommon from your previous experiences with holding Ren's hand. Ren's hand is warm.
Been many experiences.
Y'all talk about holding hands a lot.
Yeah.
Shit.
I do think. I think that until very recently, Ren has been wearing his gloves. But judging by how often y'all narrate doing it, I assumed that y'all did it outside of sessions as well.
We had like 2 weeks of downtime to
A
hold
month.
hands, okay? That's all. We had a month of downtime and all we did was hold hands, okay?
The whole time.
The whole
The whole
brunch.
time. Inseparable.
They're
Eat
skipping
brunch.
through the corridor, holding hands. Some gay ass shit.
Toxic masculinity. Who?
Is this what men who were written by women look like? I'm just kidding, you guys are not women, but still. The point remains.
Oh, bless. Okay. So yeah, it's hand holding time.
I don't. Never mind.
Um. So I believe Call got a 22 on the perception check, right?
26.
26 on the perception check. Okay, so throughout the conversation, I'm not ending y'all's roleplay. I'm just narrating how the watch goes. Um, so you well, I closed my dice box. Why am I fool? Um, way off in the distance. 26 is a very good perception check. Way off in the distance, still moving away from you, and this is like time has passed. You spot a little glimmer of red scales cresting a hill. This is like over a mile away from y'all, and you are able to catch a little glimpse of red moving away from you, toward the mountain.
And yet,
Okay.
Red and Henry couldn't see theirs. That was probably like right there.
It was in the dark.
Okay.
Um,
By the
Okay.
timing, you assume he was hiding, and the timing and position, you do assume it was the kobold that got away, and you also assume he was probably hiding and just decided to take off pretty recently.
Okay. Call is going to. Okay, so over a mile away?
As far.
Yeah, there's no way Call's gonna make that. Especially not without him cottoning on. Call's just going to, I guess, keep an eye. Hold on. What is. Nope. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way Call's gonna make that. Okay.
I will
Uh,
I will point out there's no reason for you to believe that he saw you. Um,
no, but if
but
we believe he's the same kobold from
yeah,
earlier, we don't want him to. Yeah. Um,
positionally it works out to be the same kobold. I mean, for all you know, there's one behind every hill. Like, but
Fair. Paul is going to communicate this information to the other two, um, and emphasize the fact that, like, it doesn't look like he's seen us, and he's far enough away that we could realistically choose to ignore him with minimal consequences, and we would not be any further out of luck than we were, like, an hour ago. We're in the exact same position if we do nothing.
Also, I just did the math. If Call, excuse me, if Call were to run after this thing a mile away at like full sprint, like 90 feet per second, it would take them 59 turns to catch up to the kobold. Just if it stays where it is.
Fucking Christ.
oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, that seems kind of low for only gaining 30 feet on it every turn. But yeah,
Beginning 60?
it can dash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If it stays where it is, then yeah.
Yeah. So, Carl is just going to emphasize, well, I guess we get to watch him run away.
Yeah, and it's not like you can see him the whole time. You just like see the flash of red cresting a hill.
Yeah.
It's like even in the time it takes y'all to discuss it, you can't see him anymore.
Okay. Alright. Well, Carl's just going to communicate that to everyone else.
I think there's not much we can really do about it. Like you said.
No. We just get to watch him run away.
Paul gets to watch him run away.
Cole's just gonna be sitting there munching on rations, just going, I bet he crests that hill next. That's what's gonna happen.
I love it so much.
Call is truly using their heightened perception for only good things.
This is like the dumbass energy that I love about Call, though.
I'm glad that like I'm succeeding at giving Call dumbass energy, but because that really is the goal.
Smartest character in the party, guys.
You're so smart.
No, I want Call
No,
to
no.
be the smartest. No.
Exactly. It's just like it's funny to me. The this dumbass who is so much smarter than all of us.
That's how it is in real life, though, you know?
I mean, I stand by. I still say that like the best thing Call's done to date is stop pretending that they were bound in the thieves guild in the thieves forest. Like just, giving up the ruse and just scratching their face.
So
Yeah. I maintain that that is the best thing Call has done to date.
I love it.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, like, do you think that this kind of air of, we're being, like, silly would have happened with the party, too, when talking about it? Do you think we have an air of lightness after Henry's darkness?
Sure. We can absolutely have that uh kind of jovial recovery attitude.
If we're going for like 8 hours, then yeah, I hope we can,
Yeah.
sneak in a tonal change or something.
Not sticking with morose. I lost a bunch of my friends.
Let's talk about all the people we know who have died.
I think it was
My
like a
dad, Ben.
I killed all Henry's friends too.
You did.
it was like 20 people. It was like
It
an
was
insane
a
amount
party
of
of
people.
15.
Party of 15.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot
Now,
of people.
also the only one trained in any combat was the paladin who saved Henry's life. But
Um,
We
wait,
killed Ren.
I mean, only kind of. That was partially you. That was partially Jenny.
That was all me.
I wasn't
I
the.
killed Ren.
I'm pretty sure you wrote your backstory entirely with that bit.
Yeah. But you were complicit, so
I was happily complicit.
okay.
Don't doubt me. I'll do it again.
I believe it. I fear my backup character.
Henry wants to ask Ren how he's doing. Like, I think he'll say something like, "Hey, so how have you been feeling?"
Does Henry want to roll insight?
Yes, please, so badly. Why? Why? Can Paul give me the help action?
If you had asked for it before the roll, I would have allowed it, but you've already rolled.
9.
Ren seems fine.
Okay, so Henry's gonna believe that Ren's fine, and he's gonna be like, I'm glad you're doing better.
Better.
Uh, I'm glad you're, I don't. Do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the how we tested the cure and your feelings about that? You don't
Do we
have to.
need to talk about it?
I mean, we don't need to, but it seemed like there was something else going on, and I want to be here for you. I want to talk through anything that you might be going through, and or that if there's something that we could have done to be better. Not. I think Henry's kind of like starting and stopping, like trying to find the right words, um, and it's like, um, just, if you have more to say, I want to listen to
I don't have more to say.
you. Okay.
Ren's still mad, but he's also like not gonna chew Henry out after Henry was like, "Yeah, I lost all my friends in these hills." So like, ooh.
I think Henry says, "Yeah, if you ever need to talk about anything, no, of course I'm here."
Thank you. You too.
Okay, maybe like toward after a couple hours, when we're back into jovial attitude, um, I think Henry might bring up the sending again and be like, "Do we do we want to phone a friend? Do we want to ask like Barnabas or Zerka or somebody that is better at strategy, or we could ask Chels who knows more about Knoll stuff, just what we should do here?"
Just for time passage sake, I'm going to go ahead and get the next watch. So who's going to take the next shift?
Ren came.
All right, give me a perception check.
With Pierre.
Absolutely. I'm with Pierre. Let's do it with Pierre's stats.
You know, it's really, really funny. You know, it's like extremely funny.
Do you have better perception than Pierre?
Yes. Yes. I think Pierre can go like way further out, but like
I
I think if
I'm
we're just
so
sitting here.
I'm going to actually get so I'm assuming Pierre would fly around for this, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I'll do. Here's what I'm going to do. Pierre can either give you the help action and you get your perception from where you are, or you get a bird's eye view, which is going to knock some down on any potential DCs that are trying to be met. But Pierre would not get the help action because you can't really help when Pierre's in the sky. So
Yeah, but we would potentially see like
easier
more
DC
range.
for Pierre, but no advantage and apparently a lower bonus. I'll leave it to you.
Okay, so easier DC for Pierre if she flies around.
Yeah, if Pierre is flying and making the check, no advantage and apparently a lower added to it, like a lower modifier, but the DC will be lower. Whereas for you, down on ground level, you would have advantage and a better modifier, but it will be a harder DC if there is even anything
Gotcha.
for you to see.
Gotcha. Okay, so I already rolled. So let's go with Pierre flying around.
Okay.
17.
17. Okay. Um, um, uh, a 17 and the direction y'all went. One thing Pierre sees is a tent. Um, so it is to the north of y'all, a good ways. Like it's like you have a bird's eye view on this, so it's at least 2 miles away from you, from your camp. But you know, Pierre happens to see it at the correct angle and between a hill and a cliff a little bit, does spot a tent to the north of you. Um, Other than that, I mean, just rolling hills, and you spot Pierre can see the very, very small remnants of a smoke trail from the campfire at the knoll camp.
A smoke trail from
So
the Knoll camp.
the fire was burning rather lively when y'all left it.
Okay.
It's not like a fresh fire, but you would assume that the fire that was there has burnt out and has just got a little bit of a smoke trail left.
Gotcha. And I'm so sorry. How far is the tent from us to the north?
About 2 miles.
Cool. Okay. Ren is gonna relay that information.
We have really bad campsite etiquette that we didn't put the fire out
Yeah.
before we left so that it wouldn't make a big prairie fire.
Ren got control flame and everything just for this sort of incident. We will keep this in mind next time.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. All right, so there is a tent 2 miles to the north of us, and
You can also, because y'all did not take it down or do anything about it, you also would have seen the tent from the knoll camp.
yes. Okay. Okay. But this other tent, we don't know anything about. The one to the north,
Nope.
just a tent. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, it's there. So
All right.
yeah.
Useful
There's no way to
information
like.
for the future.
Now, I believe I did interrupt a moment to bring that up, and I am sorry. I hope that whoever was saying whatever they were saying remembers what they were saying.
Henry brought up sending,
Yeah, I think that was. I think that was it.
so we could
I think
ask someone for advice, or we could bring up to Chell. Like originally, when Henry thought of this right before we attacked the knoll, he like the thought was, why did they eat the cultist? Is it like are they going against Yunaku? Are they going against the cult? Is it like a way of victory? Is that like a custom? Like that kind of stuff? Since that's not as relevant anymore, we might not want to do that, but that was his original thought.
Sid. Um, I recommend that we contact Barnabas. He may be able to send back to us if he needs to. If
Mm-hmm.
he's aware that we may need more information that we're requesting his help. Um, so if we contact him first, maybe we could contact somebody else tomorrow and he could still know to
Mm-hmm.
contact us if he learns anything.
Yeah.
Okay?
I was going to
So,
suggest Barnabas as well. He also was in the room when we were given this assignment and was in the room for Alluria's report. So it stands to reason that he also has all of the relevant context for the mission, which would help in knowing what kind of advice would be best to give.
He also knows all about the Nulls and the cultist from after, we talked with Orin to him.
mhm.
And he has his own history in these hills, so he knows everything. Um,
Let's talk to
Barnabas is the
Barnabas.
one to talk to right now. And let's see, sending has a 25-word limit. So what do we want to say?
I think before we start planning, Henry does say, I agree that we should send to Barnabas, but just so y'all know, Chels also has sending. Just clarification.
What does
All
that
right.
mean?
I mean, she's sent sending to me before. Nothing interesting. Just
Your developing relationship with Charles Hart is a constant source of bafflement to me, but I am glad you're happy.
I think we should talk about it more later. There probably is
Okay.
more that I could say.
I'd be happy to hear it. Um, but on that note, let's go ahead and prep our message to Barnabas.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna start wordsmithing for a second, so I'm gonna be very boring and on me.
Everyone independently coming up with their own 25-word message.
We can
Well,
smash them together.
yeah. I think it's best brainstorming of like we're all coming up with ideas and then we'll put the best together.
I could just be like making one of those giant calligraphy the at the beginning, like at the beginning of SpongeBob's essay. You know,
Ren is a scribe.
that's what I do when I'm trying to make notes. Okay, I understand. Ah, yes, this is a very fancy first word. I am SpongeBob.
um, Ash, for the recharge on the stone, it is every 24 hours, not every long rest.
Okay, that's good to know.
Because
So
its
if I do it
ability,
at noon every day,
yeah,
kind of thing.
its ability to send a spell has nothing to do with your, you know, uh,
That
energy
makes sense.
levels.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Here's my draft if y'all are ready to hear it.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure I counted this correctly. Um, Null 8 cultist, uh, then killed by Draconians they were magically in contact with. Didn't find what they were looking for. Next steps?
I like that a lot.
It, it mentions the betrayal on both sides, the connection between fighting parties, and the fact that we did not find what we were originally set out here to find, well, half of it, which was the null and what the null were looking for, and then still asks for advice.
Hey, what's that face?
Ron, could you read that again?
Yes. Um, I have just added 2 words, but we're still under the limit. Um, Null 8 cultists then were killed by Draconians they were magically in contact with. We didn't find what they were looking for. Next steps?
Cool. Okay. Do you have room for something about our location, like 2 days
Oh,
out
yeah.
between Storgard and Mountain?
Hold on, let me trim it down a bit. Um,
Also, if we can specify 2 nulls, just or three nulls, because that was how many we found, so we didn't find all of them that we're looking for, maybe?
they did say it was a small party, but did they ever specify how many?
I don't think they
The small.
did. I
It
don't
might have
remember.
just been 3.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Alright. Okay, hang on.
Don't make me ban you. Ash is in the chat.
I didn't realize that was forbidden.
That is definitely forbidden.
Why is that forbidden?
Because they could pick up something that y'all don't and give suggestions or remind you about something that y'all have forgotten about. And forgetting about shit in this game is important.
I promise to not go in the chat if you promise to stop closing out as soon as the game is over, and so you can read me any funny bits that I might have missed.
Okay.
Because that's all I'm after is the funny bits.
I
Actually,
was
yeah,
thinking I
I
was
am
thinking
trying
about
to close out the
recommending
chat.
y'all rewatching and just and reading the chat because
The chat isn't down there if you rewatch it.
it's
No,
not?
No.
and if you
Oh.
join late, the chat from before you were logged in isn't there either.
Yeah.
I will keep the chat up.
Thank you. Because every time, the past like 3 times I've gone, I'm like, what did I miss in the chat? And he's like, I don't know, I closed it. And it's like,
I think this is a good solution, so we'll
yes.
we'll
I,
see the
I
chat
will
later.
keep the chat open.
Thank you.
I will
You can
try to
censor
notice.
anything
I will try
that's
to notice if there's anything that needs to be censored, but probably as long as it's not in the moment, it won't
yeah.
super impact gameplay.
Uh,
Not,
okay.
not nothing against you, Sid. It's just like the type of thing of like if you're excited and you just throw something out. It's not like spoilers. It's more of a it's adding a fourth voice to the party. Uh, or I
Okay.
mean, although I add my own voice in every once in a while, so it's kind of adding a fifth voice in some cases. But so it yeah.
Alright. Hush, hush. I have another draft. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Alright. 3 null, 8 cultist, then killed by Draconians. Magical contact between those groups. Didn't find their object of search. 2 days out. Next steps? That
I
is
like that.
24 words.
Okay.
Excellent. If
We
we're
put
good
it in
with
the
that,
chat just so for my
yeah,
notes.
that's literally what I was about to say.
Nice. Thanks.
Now I gotta do this.
Okay. So should Ren convey that to Barnabas now?
Yes. So Henry reaches in his shirt and pulls out a huge opal that has like knots done around, like it's a necklace, right? And like the rope has like knots around it to hold it in place, like on the necklace. And he takes it off and he says, hold this, and if you just reach out to Barnabas with your mind, he'll be able to hear as if you're speaking in his mind, so he'll know it's from you.
Ren holds it very respectfully. Like, I don't know, he gets the feeling like, oh, this is important to Henry, so he's like, okay, this is the gravity of it. So yeah, and he'll go through and send the message.
Alrighty. Give me a second because now I have to craft a 25-word message. If y'all want to talk, I would greatly support it.
Okay.
Ren might just to Henry, this is beautiful.
Thank you. It was, and he is kind of like nervous. I think he's gonna say it the way that I'm saying. He's like, "Thank you. It was a present from Bennett with the letter that he sent."
I'm sorry, what?
He, I know, I don't have any answers on that. He just sent this to me, and it makes my magic more powerful. I have felt it. I felt it when I was using magic today. I am more powerful with this. I have the ability to send sending once a day, which means I could talk to him once a day potentially. Don't know what to do with that information. Um,
So you have not contacted him with this?
nope,
Have you used this before?
nope,
Why did you let me use this first?
because I can't do it yet. I don't. Just for context, the letter and all of that crying and everything, that was like 2 or 3 days before we got our assignment. So got the letter, had a lot of feelings, has been processing it. There's been other stuff going on. So that's the time frame that Ren and Call would know. And he's like, yeah, I just trying to come up with the best. I only have 25 words, and it's been 7 years. I don't 25 words. I don't. And hearing his voice, I don't know if I can hear his voice and not immediately leave. So
So, does that mean? Does this imply that he's still in love with you?
I listen. It was a short letter, but from the context, from the contents, he knows me. He he knows and understands me to the core. Still, I don't know. I don't know how he feels, but I know that.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
People people look at me and they see just a happy, joyful person, and that is true. That is who I am. But the way that I think about joy, the way that I move out in the world, and the way that I make decisions and see people and love people, and just all of the mechanics behind who I am, he understands and he knows. And he still knows those things.
About this time, uh, Ren, you hear Barnabas' voice in your mind that says, "Search for any evidence of other Knoll. Come back if you are confident there are no more Knoll. Be careful. Draconians are dangerous and suspicious." And there's the message, if you want
You
Okay.
came up with yours a lot faster than we came up with ours. Alright. It sounds like our marching orders are to stay and investigate a little longer.
Okay.
But he didn't say go toward the mountain. He said look for Knoll, which I think is an important distinction from what we were talking about.
My guess would be that means the next step is checking out that motherfucking tent.
Yeah. So, yeah, Barnabas' marching orders seem to be avoid Draconians and just
Yeah.
look for the null. So yeah. Okay. Um, how are we doing on our rest?
Um, for I will say that um, in order for you to all get the benefits of a long rest, right now the only person who hasn't is Ren. So you would need just like 2 more hours of resting, like not watching, uh, for all of you to be 100%.
Let's let's do that. There's no immediate rush.
In that case, Henry, you up? Give me that perception check.
Oh, you can't. Guess what, guys?
I was so fucking sidetracked by the cup. I thought you were showing the cup, and I didn't even look behind it. I was like, what? What?
The cup perfectly concealed him from the camera view, and I was gonna be like, "Hey, look, it's the boy." And then I'm like, "Wait, it's the boy."
Love him.
He's great.
On that note,
Kiss him
Blessed.
now.
Blessed.
Yes.
oh my god.
Kisses.
Thank you, Discord Blur. The worst thing ever. He has been here with his paw on my arm, just purring.
I love him.
Oliver, will you get in my lap and purr? He jumped on my desk for the first time in like a year in the middle of that client call today. And he jumped from my bed, which means he jumped ass first into the camera.
You know, showing off his best just as you were showing off yours.
This is my butthole.
He was being friendly.
Yeah. He's doing the most.
Please kiss him for me. I cannot kiss Arthur right now, for I cannot bend.
Kiss him for me too, please.
There we go. Was that enough kisses?
It'll suffice.
It'll suffice.
Sorry, a fix, because we're already not on topic, a fix for the chat thing that I might try to put in by next session. I might try to put the chat in the stream so that
Oh,
it appears
yeah.
on screen.
Yes.
Actually, I mean, I can just. The chat is now on stream. I gotta adjust a box, but because I already have the chat popped out, this is not technically like the best way to do this, but
Well, that's great because now if we go back and rewatch the stream, we can see when somebody said something. Because Sid definitely said facts at one point, and I'm like, it's something about a fashion icon or a fashion statement. And I was like, I wish I knew what those things were about.
I bet that was about the bear trap on the bag.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
it was.
yeah.
It was.
Fantastic.
Okay, so I will mess with this. I mean, temporary solution right now. I'm gonna mess with it to try and put it so that if I have the battle map up, the chat will just cover like my little toolbar. Because honestly, that toolbar probably has more spoilers in it than anything else that y'all would possibly ever see. So if I could cover that with the chat, that would honestly be great. Um, I'll work on it. I am newbie streamer. We'll get better at it. Um, so Henry, perception check. I don't believe you gave me that number. It's a small one.
Did I not? What are you talking about? I said it.
Yeah,
It was
and
a
you,
nat one.
it was a nat
It was a nat
one.
one. The
Oh
second nat one
no.
from this dice today. This dice gave me a 18, 19, 20, 19 a couple sessions ago. like in a row, and this gave me 2 nat ones today.
Oh. Um.
Angry.
Henry. Um.
Henry's emotionally compromised.
I
Mostly
assume.
not, but
Uh.
like especially so today.
Calm down. I assume that y'all are still like in your like chatting as you're watching type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Henry. Just a little ways into your rest, you look up and on one of the very near hills, you see the pale outlined figure of a somewhat humanoid torso, that you immediately what you see is a specter. Um, yeah, you see a specter. Um,
Uh,
about
Henry pulls a call. Go
about
ahead.
60 feet from the camp.
Henry pulls a call and immediately uh, grabs Call's hand and says, "Do you see that?" and points towards the hill.
Call's going to immediately turn and look at the hill.
Uh, Give me a perception check.
Pale outline figure, and he starts shaking. It can't say anymore.
25.
25.
Yep.
Um, First of all, Henry, what you saw, you don't see anymore. There's not something in its place. Call, you do not see anything. Um,
Okay.
Henry, you know that specters can travel through solid matter, and as long as they don't stay within it, they have no adverse effects.
Henry just starts crying.
Um. All right. At this point, Call is going to be, just rubbing Henry and like just probably petting his head, and is like, it's fine, it's fine. There's, everything's okay. Because also Henry has not communicated what he thinks he saw. So Call's
It's
just like,
not.
I'm good.
Does anybody
I
have
don't.
any senses other than dark vision?
I don't think so.
I
Nope.
didn't need to put Henry through this much crap at once. I don't know what happened. I was like, he had a heartbreak in his past, and now we're here.
Um,
My poor boy.
uh, because I think that the reason you haven't done this is because you may have forgotten about it. This is something I think that Henry would immediately think of. Uh, you do have an ability called Divine Sense that
Oh, I
would
do have
tell
that.
you if there is an undead within 60 feet of you, which the where you saw this was within 60 feet of you.
Yeah, I've never used that before because we haven't dealt with anything that's like evil, or undead, or really, I guess, is what I thought. How do I use that?
Ooh, actually, looking at it now, it only so you sense anything affected by the Hallow spell or know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover. So the fact
Mm-hmm.
that you can't see it right now actually means that you would not it would not give you a benefit at the moment. Um, However, give me a dexterity. Mm, Give me a dexterity saving throw real quick.
15?
Sorry, how much?
15? 1 5.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that you could have gotten off a divine sense while you could still see it, and also while, like, as you're getting Call's attention.
Okay, so I did that. That feels like something he would have done as a
Yeah,
reaction.
that's why I made you
Thank you.
roll for it. It was contested, just so you know. There was an undead presence.
Okay.
And let me. So after you lost sight of it, which would be when it got behind total cover, you would lose that ping, but you did get the ping.
Fuck. Not ones, y'all. Okay, so I think he, after taking several very deep breaths, gets out. There's a specter. I didn't believe my eyes, and I cast my, use my divine sense. There is undead. They can go through solid matter. I think it's in the hill. It's okay. It was just one. He kind of starts calming down. He's like, it was just one that I saw, but it was there. It was about 60 feet away. I think he points, like, I don't think he says 60 feet. I think he says, like, the second hill from the left or wherever it was. They, I know they can be in a solid matter indefinitely, but I don't know what this means, but I think we need to be ready in case it attacks.
I don't know a lot about magic stuff. Are Call's gonna be like, are you sure it wasn't Ben? Henry was panicking for just fuck all, so Call's gonna be like, are you sure?
You're muted, Jenny. I really
Does
want to
Ren
hear
hear
that.
that?
I make a perception
Call did
check.
lower their voice. Call did lower their voice.
Ren, make a perception check for me.
Oh. Okay.
Oh no.
That was a 21, but okay.
With a 21, there's no. Ren heard it.
Ren's feelings are fine. Yeah, he's gonna get up and like, are we okay?
Oh no.
Like Henry's upset, we're looking at stuff. So yeah, Ren's gonna be like, what's going on, guys? Are we okay?
Call is going to explain that, you know, what Henry said, and that Call didn't see anything, and is probably going to be like hyper uncertain right now, and is going to be like gently being like pat to Ren, maybe, just in case Ren heard anything, because we're like, Call still doesn't feel good, and is like holding Henry, so it's like kind of like weird, this kind of thing right now.
Paul's just trying to keep it together.
So
Call's just trying to keep the peace right now, guys.
Okay.
After a quick search, I am fairly certain that Henry did not get a ping from Ren after using that divine sense. I'm pretty sure that Ren is not classified as undead.
Yeah, he's not. He's just weird.
I know how that works.
Weird.
No, Ren's just weird, so yeah. He's fine. You know how people get like brought back to life on the operating table? Ren's like that.
Okay.
Okay.
My uncle did that, and he came back and
What?
I was like, okay, my uncle did that. I was talking about Sydney's dad. Forgot Sydney's listening. wasn't the operating table, but I'm sorry, I just realized that the person was. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh god, Bronwyn and Call have something in common today.
All
What
right.
in mouse syndrome?
Woo!
Anyway.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, Sid.
That being said, Henry, will you give me another perception check, please?
That's a 4.
Um, Henry, will you make a wisdom saving throw for me, please?
God fucking damn.
By the way, did Ren get to finish his rest? And like,
Ren finished his rest.
okay,
Go ahead and take that long rest.
yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, God.
23. 23 wisdom saving throw.
I'm gonna let y'all read that one afterward. In the chat. um, 23 wisdom saving throw.
Yes.
Um,
I'm hoping I made it.
you did. So I'm sorry, I need to stop looking at chat. Uh,
Cindy's too funny.
Sydney, I'm putting my ass in the chair right
so, with the 4 perception, um, out of the corner of your eye, you keep seeing humanoid shapes that are the right color to be specters. But with that wisdom saving throw, you are able to keep um, keep your mind in check enough that you are able to look at each thing each time and see, no, that's a rock on the hill. No, that's a tree branch coming over the side of that hill. You are able to look at a bunch of different things and realize these are not specters.
Okay.
Um,
I think that calms him down a little bit because it's like the self-doubt of what did I see? Um you know, oh, there hasn't been any of these times. And so I think he's gonna calm down a little bit, but still be paranoid because he did feel an undead presence. Yeah.
hmm,
I don't think he's gonna be like actively hyperventilating anymore.
okay. So the rest, y'all's rest has come to an end. What do you do?
Long rest. I'm gonna.
Yeah, make sure everybody has clicked long rest on your character sheets. Get you up to that max HP and get all them spell slots and sorcerer points back.
now.
And can I prepare cure wounds instead of
Yeah, you can. So
okay
on a
object?
long rest, on a long rest as a paladin, technically, like you
Yeah.
pray for your spells. So you, this is a little weird to me, but you pray up your new list of spells basically. Um,
Cool. Um. Oh, okay. So while we're doing our long rest, Henry also casts Find Steed.
all right.
And it's So would that be part of the spell slots that were?
I'm gonna go ahead. I know you wanted to, and I know you just keep forgetting, so I'm going to say that you cast it before taking your long rest.
Okay.
So you don't need to use a slot.
Thank
And I know you still had spell slots available. So.
you. Yeah, I did. I'd only used one
Yeah.
first level spell slot. Okay. It's a war horse. He has a braided mane and tail, obviously. And his name is George.
Your name is George. I like George.
George is the name of the paladin that saved Henry's life in the hills.
Love George.
Arthur.
Just real quick. Did you unprepare the spell? Oh no, you didn't. Okay, there it is. I believe. Okay. For now, because I don't see anything about it. For now, the steed can understand any instructions and any words that you say to it. But for now, I'm going to say that it does not have language, so it's not going to talk back to you.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't expect it to.
Yeah. And if I find some irrefutable evidence that it can speak, then expect the horse to have a funny voice.
At the end, it says, while your steed is within 1 mile of you, you can communicate with each other telepathically.
Communicate is not the same as language.
But.
So I will say that the horse can convey meaning and intent to you, but not language, not words. Now, if I go reading through and find out otherwise, then it'll happen. But yes, so you'll see a horse that, similar to the stones that y'all found, glows slightly, not enough to actually give off light, but enough to be like, hey, that shit's glowing. It's its legs about at the hoof become slightly incorporeal. You can still see the outline, and it leaves no tracks. And yeah, Henry has a horse. Y'all guys are walking home.
The ghost horse. Can he not carry all 3 of us?
He would suffer encumbrance if you tried to have all 3 of you ride.
No. Cool.
I guess we're walking next to a horse.
Pierre can ride on the horse.
Pierre.
Can Pierre and George be friends? Pierre should ride on George.
Okay.
Pierre now perches on the ethereal horn of George's saddle.
I just think it'd be very cute. Or she can ride on Ren's shoulder if that's what she likes to do.
Nah, ravens are heavy. She can ride on George. It's okay.
All right. So, where are y'all headed?
The tent.
To the tent.
To the tent. Okay. So Ren, give me a survival check.
Okie dokie. That's right. We are collecting the trap that we left.
No. You get the trap. You know how to disarm the trap without it going off on your fingers. I'm not going to make you roll for that. This is you are the one that knows where the tent is, and therefore leading the way to it.
Can I get advantage?
You can get advantage.
Oh, thank God. Okay, 17.
17. Okay.
The other
Um,
one was a 6.
to be fair, having seen it from above, I probably would have given you advantage even without the help action. Like I would, if you had brought that up, I would have given it to you, probably. Um, 17. Yeah. So you make it there pretty quickly. 2 miles doesn't take that long to traverse. To you know, some a group of physically fit adventurers. Um, so y'all get there in probably about 20-ish minutes. If y'all aren't rushing. Um, and yeah, so you get. Here's where I'll start it. You know that over the next hill in front of you is where the tent was.
Okay. Ren's gonna indicate that and suggest that we approach with caution. Um, so do we want to like just peek over and see what we can see, or hmm, 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 hmm. Let's send
Three.
Pier.
Okay. Let me do a bit of landscape description. So directly ahead of you, y'all are walking kind of in a valley between two hills. Directly ahead of you, the hill uh, rises. Um, and you know that down the slope of that hill is where the camp is. If you were to climb the hill to your left and kind of stay on the apex of that hill and go around more towards the west side of the area that the tent was in, you would be on top of this of a cliff face that kind of slopes out, similar to the second camping option that I gave you. Um, and so if you were on top of that, you would and like laying down, looking over the edge, you'd be looking straight down at the tent, basically. Uh, on the north side, there's another. On the north and east side, there is one continuous hill that kind of curves, putting it in a bit of a bowl. There is a small tree on top of the cliff side.
And Pier go to the tree.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And,
she's gonna do that. Ow, and Arthur's gonna bite me.
uh, give me a perception check for Pier, please.
11.
Um, so from his perch on the tree, first of all, the tent is still there. Um, there is no signs of a campfire in any form. No fireplace or anything like that. Um, let's see. From that position, he does spot the second tent, which is further under the outcropping of the cliff. So it's kind of like you can see the majority of the first tent that is the one that brought you here, and then you can kind of see the corner poking out of a second tent. Um, uh,
Okay, I think I understand.
hmm. Also from this position with an 11, that is not high enough perception to like notice any kind of tracks or anything like that. Um, yeah, that's what you get. You know there are two tents and no fireplace, unless that fireplace was like all the way under the cliff.
Any signs of life?
You do not see any. I mean, you don't see any sentient creatures. You don't see any
Okie doke.
creatures at all.
Okay, Ren thinks we can cautiously proceed. Like, you know,
Henry
I
cast
kind
Divine Sense.
Nothing.
I kind of like the idea of going around the cliff, just so we don't get stuck in low ground. Like, if anything does happen upon us, we won't be stuck, like, without a height advantage.
That's valid.
So if we want to, like, I don't know, go around that way, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Is that good with the layout, Ben, or did I
Yeah, no,
miss
absolutely, you can do that. So you just have to climb the hill to your left, and
Yeah.
then you can come around on that cliffside.
Okay. And I guess we'll be moving stealthy. Um,
All
yeah.
right. Then I need a stealth check from all three of you, and I'll make one for George.
Ooh, a whole 12.
I also got a 12.
Mod 1.
Um, George got a 4. Um, so
Well, if there's nothing
So we are
here,
not
then nothing
stealthy.
can catch us.
We were just horsing about.
Oh
um,
my god.
I mean, it's a fucking horse. Like, it's a smart horse, yeah, but it's still a fucking horse.
Smart horse.
Um,
He's a very smart horse.
It's smarter than Ren.
um, I
I'm looking it up now.
I
So
think
I
there
have
is
to
actually I think there is an intelligence stat at least partially associated with it. Like, it says its
I think he has
intelligence
a
is
6 or
raised,
something.
which 6 is like the minimum for understanding language, I believe.
I'm looking it up.
Aside the point. Um, so yeah, y'all are attempting to be stealthy. I'm gonna say that none of y'all really rolled high enough to realize that any of the rest of you are doing much poorly. I mean, y'all do hear the pots and pans bouncing on top of a horse. Which, are you still riding the horse?
No,
As
I'm
you
not writing it.
Okay. I mean, y'all can hear the clanking and jangling of Mr. Chainmail, but
Chainmail. Chainmail.
uh, his intelligence is 6. George's intelligence is 6, not 2. The Find Steed spell specifically states that if it is a creature with an intelligence of less than 6, it raises it to 6. Um,
Who is like a vegetable?
yeah, 2 2 is literally a like an animal with no with no language, no tool use, and such. Um, so yeah, y'all climb the cliff, or go up to the cliff, rather.
Can if we're doing that, can Call do a perception check from
Absolutely.
there?
Roll a perception check for me.
Let's do this bitch. Oh, lame. 14.
Okay. So I assume you're kind of like peeking over the edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're able to get a full view of the second tent, and you actually um, that the second tent is actually collapsed. Uh, so it's mostly collapsed. So the corner that Pier would have seen is still kind of propped up, um, but the back half of it is collapsed down, um, and that's really all you get that's new. You still see no sight of any creatures.
Okay. Um, Call is going to whisper that if the others aren't really looking. Um, and I don't know. I guess if we haven't seen anybody at all yet, we might cautiously. Call might kind of make a gesture like they're like, hey, I kind of want to go for it.
Yeah.
Anyone gonna stop me?
Henry nods. Like, let's
Let's
go.
go for it.
All right. Call's just going to emerge and cautiously approach.
Okay. So you are like on the edge of a cliff. So are you going down on the
Okay.
southern side or the northern side? The southern side is the direction you came from.
Call's probably going to approach from the northern side.
All right. So you continue down the hill that you just crested, and come around. Um, as you do come around like into the camp area, there's still no sign of any kind of campfire or anything. What you do see is up against the cliff wall, there is a rack of dried meats that doesn't look like it was set out to dry the meat, but more like this was brought along. Um, Kind of the like pole with stuff tied to it idea. Um, the So there is the half collapsed tent as well as the one set up tent. And give me or what do you do from there?
Um, I think at this point, Call is even more like kind of cautious. I think Call wants to like assess how old the dried meats are, if that's possible. I mean, if they're dried meats, they probably keep for a long time, but
Yeah.
so might not actually be a good metric to tell how old the campsite is.
It's dried meat. It's dried meat. You can tell that it wasn't dried here. So like
Yeah, which
Like,
still doesn't actually help Paul's problem.
are we thinking like, I don't know, some kind of wild animal would have found it and eaten it if it had been here for a certain length of time? I don't know, like
Yeah.
if there are like, I don't know, foxes or something around the area.
There's logic to that.
so I will say it is set up high enough. It is propped off the ground. Never mind.
Okay. I think at that point, Call's going to be a little extra more suspicious. Extra more suspicious. I think Call is going to cautiously approach the collapsed tent, and maybe do another quick look around before they like decide to like look down and start really investigating.
Okay. Give me a perception check. Henry and Ren, what are y'all doing at this point?
Staying pretty close to Call, but like
Okay.
looking more around.
So
like,
y'all
to see
y'all
around
followed.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, while Call's looking at stuff right in front of them, Ren is like keeping an eye on like anything that could sneak up on them or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Henry as well.
I'm just gonna count that as y'all's passive perceptions, and we'll get Call's perception check.
Okay. That is going to be a 19.
19. With a 19, you can see that the area around the collapsed tent is disturbed. Um, like, the dirt is kind of kicked up and such. Um, looks like someone was there and was in a hurry with whatever they were doing. You don't see anything approaching. None of you do. Um, uh, Henry also Henry isn't getting his. Oh my gosh, it's a specter. That's not happening anymore. Um, uh, yeah. So
Okay. Given that, then Call's probably going to jump into investigation mode and is going to like still trying to not be like super noisy or anything like that. They're gonna like lift up a portion of the collapsed tent and see if there's anything inside that they can like rummage around to like learn from.
Okay. Make a dexterity saving throw for me.
Okay. That would be a 25.
Okay. As you start lifting the tent flap, the supporting post of the tent that had not fallen begins to fall, and you are able to catch it before it hits the ground.
Cool.
And aside from that, give me an investigation check.
Cool. Lame 14. I swear I roll low on my investigation stuff, despite the fact that I'm an investigative rogue.
Yeah, it's very sad. So even with a 14, the shit that I'm about to describe to you was in no way attempted to be hidden. So there is a bedroll that is kind of torn open, and also there is a pack that has been emptied out, and like its contents kind of scattered. You find an empty coin pouch, and kind of you find a paper wrapping of that is empty. And you also find a whetstone, as well as some other items for weapon care. What else? Yeah, I mean that's about it. Yeah, that's what you find in the collapsed tent.
Okay.
Within this tent, there would be enough room. These tents sleep too, like they could sleep too.
Okay. Bronwyn herself is probably gonna go ahead and steal that whetstone because Call does not have one in their backpack and has a ton of daggers.
Go for it.
Alright.
Practical.
I believe.
Practical.
Shush.
I need to look into it. Are you gonna take like all of the weapon care stuff, or just the whetstone?
Probably not.
Okay, just the whetstone. Okay.
Probably just the whetstone.
All right, we'll go with that. I'm not certain if there is a toolkit associated with what I am describing. If I look through it and find out that there is a whole toolkit, I will let you know and let you decide then if you would have taken all of it.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, I think with that, Call is going to go ahead and move toward the non-collapsed tent.
Okay. All right. Give me another investigation check.
Okay, roll better, bitch. Haha! It listened, nat 20.
Very nice. Give me just I need to put that in quotes real quick.
So much better than the 6 it rolled last time.
Okay, so first of all, as you get to as you get to the entrance of the tent, there is a little clasp on it that like holds the flaps of the tent closed. and it is still done. So you do you undo the clasp?
Deep sigh.
I need so I do need to clarify something. There is an
Oh
action
no.
that you can take called check for traps. Like you can do that. And
Oh.
I I for a while have been thinking I guess I have to hit them with a trap before they'll think to do that. But then I realize you may not know that that's like something you can do. So yes, there is an action you can take called checking for traps. It will take your investigation modifier. That's the check that you will do. Um, but
Um, I would like to do that then. Is that a separate roll that doesn't take my nat fucking 20
you
for the
did
back?
get a nat 20, and I'm not gonna fuck you for this. Uh, there are no traps. You see no traps. Uh, I did. I tried to scare y'all with the dexterity saving throw earlier, but never mind. Um,
I was terrified. I was like, something's about to jump out at them.
but yes, okay. So there's no traps. It does like with a nat 20, you make note that this clasp was done. Like the other tent, very obviously, someone rushed into, tore into everything that was in there, and rushed out. And this one, I mean, either no one went into it, or they carefully redid this clasp upon leaving it. So you undo the clasp. Um, there are no traps. You go inside, uh, and you realize there is only one bedroll that is rolled out undisturbed. There is another pack on the ground as well. That also seems to be undisturbed. Um, and just kind of this tent looks a little nicer than the other one did. With a nat 20, I assume that you are going to look through this bedroll and yes, okay, nat 20 is carrying over. I'm not trying to deprive you of that. Um, uh, so in searching in the bedroll, you find a red scale. Um, like not to weigh things, but like reptilian scale. Um, you don't find an oddly colored mercantile device. Um, uh, in the pack, you find a small bundle of coins, 25 gold. You find some travel rations. You find another collection of weapon maintenance things. Um, and you find a map. Because I like to reward nat 20s. Uh, uh, so on this map, it is uh, of the area around the mountain. Um, there are a few marks throughout the foothills, and they have. You were the one to find the note that had the list on it, right? Yeah, you could. Yeah, of course you
Yes.
were. The writing on this map matches that note. Um, like not like the handwriting, but the language matches. Um, uh, there are a few marks. There are a few different places where there is an X drawn and some writing. There are a few places where there's a circle and some writing. Um, you looking at the map, you are able to tell that where y'all, excuse me, where y'all came up on the knoll and had your fight, that place. Uh, Also, a lot of places there's a circle and then an X drawn through the circle. Uh, there is a circle on that place, and less writing than in most places. Most like where there is a symbol, there's less writing here. Um, yeah. Um, Trying to think if there would be anything else in this tent. I don't think so. Yeah, that's what you find.
Okay. Okay. Call is going to go ahead and bring out the scale, coins, and map, and probably the rations, just so we can restock. You know, we've been out on the road for a couple of days. And is going to like give them a very quick like, hey, I think this is the map for the stuff that they were looking for. My initial thought is that circles are places where they want to check, and X's are places that have been already checked. Call's also probably going to make an aside about the fact that the writing is the same, but probably just in like a, hey, look, and not, you know, a, I'm drawing attention to this kind of thing. And is then going to say, given that that may have been a null tent, this may have been a tent for a cultist, do we want to get out of here in case these were not the same ones we killed?
Would it not have been the Draconian? Because the Dreadnought and the nicer one and the Draconians, that's why the red scale maybe was in the bedroll.
That's true. That is entirely likely. And and they did say, they weren't far from here. Yeah.
Is
Okay,
this tent in the direction that the kobold was running away that Call saw?
Because you flat out said it, yes.
Interesting. Interesting. That is a good point. Okay. So it's possible that the smaller tent, or that the collapsed tent was the kobold that made a run for it. I wonder if that means the standing tent was from one of the Draconians we killed last night, or if there is someone else to be concerned about.
I would think that the nicer tent was for the Dreadnought, the smaller tent was for the Draconians, and then maybe the kobolds had to sleep outside? Maybe?
So technically, they are all Draconians.
Sorry.
There's the Dreadnought and 2 foot soldiers.
Okay.
Is what they are called.
Thank
you. Okay. Alright, I guess the primary question of the moment is, do we think it's safe to hang around here for a little bit and look into things?
Like, look more, we find more, or look at this map, compare it, and do like investigation work with the stuff that we already have?
More of the second.
I think we should go somewhere else to talk and look at this stuff.
Okay.
Though this... Though it would make sense if the smaller tent was if the kobold stayed there, because like you said, because if they came in here and grabbed their stuff and left, are there any tracks leading out now that we're here, like leading out of the like
You can
you
make a
said there was
survival
disturbed
check.
ground. Okay. Like looking specifically at the disturbed ground to see if there's any direction that footprints would have gone. These footprints. Oh, 23.
So there's quite a bit of tracks. With a 23, you're able to see quite a bit. So this disturbance seems to have been from a smaller creature. Um, you have seen a dead kobold up close, and a 23 is a good check. So you very conceivably the disturbance could have been a kobold, could have been the kobold that got away. Um, you do see larger tracks. None are boots. Uh, like there are no shoe prints, and you don't see anything that you would think would be a knoll paw print. Uh, it all looks every footprint you find is clawed, and uh, technically knoll have fairly small feet in comparison to even kobolds. Kobolds are much smaller than knoll, but their feet are bigger. Um, so all in all, you don't find any evidence of knoll. You don't find any evidence of shoes, uh, tracks wise, and the you can tell there are older tracks coming in from the north, and there's the one set of fresh tracks that you think to be about kobold sized, uh, that are look to be the creature running back north. But there are no other tracks leading north, like going from the camp to the north.
What do we think of either cresting the northern hill and looking around, or if we think Pyrrha could look around, and then heading back since Barnabas kind of said if we don't find Knoll stuff, then come back.
I think that sounds good.
Ben, point of clarification: how many circles are on the map that are not X'd out?
Not many. Um, there are a couple that are just an X. Um, and the all in all, there are 7 X's on the map, and only 5 circles. Uh, this circle is not X'd out, and then there's one other on the north side of the mountain.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for asking that, Asher. I was meaning to ask that myself, and it got sidetracked.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think personally, Henry's saying this, a quick scout north by not this whole group, um, and then I think we should head back unless we find something.
Uh, I will point out that y'all saw the kobold. That Call saw the kobold at this point, like about 8 hours ago, because Call had first watch, so y'all had your full rest and the travel that it took to get here.
Yeah. So it's been a hot minute.
Not to say that you can't look around, but
Yeah, and I guess they probably wouldn't have made camp here, um, so close to anything that's um, noteworthy. So I say we reclasp the the nice tent, and then head home. What do y'all think? Head back to Stroker.
it's about 3 p.m. by the way.
Sorry, I'm very tired. Someone else respond.
We could just end here and not decide what we're
Yeah,
doing
we
next.
we could just
Just do that.
end in this camp. Start next session with your decision.
Yes, because I am very sleepy.
Yes.
Very fair. It's been fun, guys.
Good session.
Very good session. Sorry that Henry's so emotional and going through so many things. I did not
No,
plan.
we needed to talk about that. I've been waiting for this. I'm glad we did.
I know, me too. Henry is surprisingly, like, unwilling to share information.
I think it kind of relates to not wanting to take away from the moment or overshare or because he doesn't really feel like most moments are about him. He feels like he is privileged enough to be with his friends and be in a good place, and it's not about talking about himself, if that makes sense. Like, he will talk about himself, but it's not just randomly, not just randomly, probably.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
Alright, well,
friends. Good night, Bronwyn.
tell me what Sid said.
Yes, we need chat.
Sid said, so we're talking about dead dads. And then that she feels welcomed.
Cousin after my own heart.
And then does go on to say, it's okay. She's only joking, and she loves y'all. Us.
Oh.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
yeah. Night, Sid.
Good night.
Farewell. Good night.
Tons of fun. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream.